Hey, what is going on, everybody? Boilon here, back for an official, I guess, video of Marvel Strike Force here in 2025. And today we're going to be getting things started by talking about Jean Grey. Now, today is going to be the inaugural Should You Core Jean Grey video. But we have a lot of things to talk about. We have Uncanny Avengers, we have Immortal X-Men, we have Spotlight 2, and all sorts of other reasons why you might want to consider whether or not you're going to power core for Jean Grey when she comes out on Friday. Now, I am doing this a day early. Normally, I would do these kinds of videos on the day of the release, but there's two things. I'm not sure whether or not there's going to be a blog post on Friday. I heard that they're out of office until Monday, but also we have the release, apparently, of Spotlight 2 on Friday, so I do want to leave that day free for some additional videos that are probably going to come out on this channel. So if you're ready to know more, then let's boil this down. Okay, so like I said, I do want to kind of double up here talking about Jean Grey and Spotlight Raid 2 because I feel like it's the same. There's a lot of stuff that we need to talk about with regards to why you're going to want to have Jean Grey and some other stuff related to this. So let's just go back to the blog post from December 20th. It was a little bit of time ago, talking about the Spotlight Raid 2 before we dive into Jean Grey herself. So this is coming on Friday, but this is coming in a sort of a preview version. They're doing what they call this prologue, the Spotlight Raid 2 prologue version. This is going to be going live at 1 p.m. on Friday. And this does not require Hercules, but it does require 4 Uncanny Avengers, which does mean you need Jean Grey unlocked and geared to some extent to be able to engage on those nodes in Spotlight Raid 2. Now, as you guys know, the starting team for Spotlight 2 is going to be Alpha Flight. It's not Uncanny Avengers, so you can make your way up to the 50%. Maybe I'm just assuming here because I haven't seen the map yet as of recording this video. The data mines and JSON files have not been available yet for Spotlight 2, but if they do, I will do another video on that. But the way the Spotlight 1 works is that you were able to basically 54%, I think, with the first team. And then that was able to actually get you the first time rewards, apparently at 50%, to get you to the next raid. So you very well could do all of this without Uncanny Avengers, but a lot of the new rewards are going to be locked behind that 70% and that 100%. In order to do that, you're going to need Jean Grey unlocked so you can use the Uncanny Avengers on these nodes, at least in the 4-piece for now. How easy the nodes are with 4 characters, I don't know. Without Hercules, it's hard to say without seeing the nodes. But in order to actually be able to do them at all, you do need to have Jean Grey unlocked. So do keep that in mind. Now, as far as the prologue rewards, they talk about similar stuff to what we already have on Spotlight 1. So I am kind of curious what's different about it. Talk about ability materials, so that's going to be your T4s, your red gear, gold, all the stuff that's already with the Spotlight 1, with the exception of Path to Jean Grey orb fragments that they say are going to be added, and some Hercules Diamond orb fragments, which again is going to be like a limited time orb for the Spotlight 2. This will also include Battle World credits as first-time rewards as you go up the difficulties. I get, they haven't added any new characters. It's still just Orcus in there, so I don't know. Maybe I'll just save the Battle World credits to see whether or not they'll throw Night Stalkers into the store at all. I don't know what their intention is with the store at this point, so we'll have to find out later on. Also, the difficulties, there's going to be 2 different raids, just like how the Orcus raid is. They're separating into like a kind of an easier one and then a possibly bigger one. We'll see if the map is much different than our current version of Spotlight 1, though. So we'll see about that one. And of course, the requirements for this Alpha Flight and Uncanny Avengers, and it does require purple ISO. So if you are in an alliance that is intending to go all the way up to difficulty 2, then you do need level 3 purple ISO on your Alpha Flight first, and then your Uncanny Avengers. So basically, Alpha Flight if you're going up towards to 50%, and then Uncanny Avengers if you want to go make your way up towards 100% or 70 and 100%. And then they actually do talk about the difficulties being unlocked at 50. So again, you don't need Uncanny Avengers necessarily to get you there, but a lot of the better rewards are locked behind 70 and 100% in order to get those. So again, when the map comes out, we'll have some more look at that. I do also want to talk about, on my data mines, there was mention of the next upcoming January alliance-based event, the milestone called In the Spotlight. So this is going to be rewarding the new currency dumbbells and then Jean Grey orbs as well. So you can see in here, we're basically just replacing the current alliance milestone that we have right now. we're kind of going back to a raid version of this, though. It might be reminiscent a little bit of sort of the Orcus and Night Stalkers version of that, because there's going to be milestone points on the Spotlight raid nodes themselves. But again, we'll kind of take a look at this when we know a little bit more. I think this is going to be starting next Monday, so do keep that in mind. So let's jump on over finally to the Jean Grey part of the video. And I do want to start off by talking about her stats. I want to take a look at her stats. So I have this arranged. We're looking at Purple ISO Raider 3, by the way. Not saying that that is the for sure ISO. I just like to use this for looking at stats. And so Jean Grey is actually number 11 in health. It appears that she is actually higher in health than Ares, so that's interesting. Not too bad there. She's not really a damage, or she's not really like a tank character, so it's pretty good health actually for all things considered. Her damage, not immediately visible. 24 in damage, so it is similar to Emma Frost and Moondragon's rework and Invisible Woman's rework, and a little bit less than Storm's. But her kit is pretty good. Let's take a look at armor. She has 70 in armor. That's actually, oh wait, yeah, that's right. Wow, that's really surprising, actually. She must have like the lowest armor rating for a new character. I have never seen a new character have that low in armor. Is that accurate? Did I click the right? I must have clicked the right button, right? Armor? I'm shocked. Yeah. Wow. Jean has the lowest armor stat of a new character to date. I have never seen a new character have that low. I think the next one after that, if I were to scroll up, would be Wasp here at 41. That's a rework, though. As far as new characters go, that's pretty surprising, actually, because I don't Shadow King at 28. So that's pretty low on the armor side of things. As far as focus goes, she is number 19. That's good. She has some pretty good debuffs. That's going to be really important to land. And her resistance is going to be at 36. That's not super surprising, but it is on par with Kahori, so that's okay, I guess, as well. And where is she with speed? She's at 129. That's pretty respectable. She's tied with characters like Gore, with Ghost Rider Robbie, with I didn't even know Nico had 129 speed, but there you go. So she's in the top 15, which is pretty good as far as characters go, without any additional speed. But they do, of course, get that from Storm. Storm, as part of her passive, does give speed up to X-Men, as you know. So let's talk about Jean Grey and her kit. She is a Hero Global mutant support character. So, you know, that explains why her armor's low, but I wasn't expecting it to be that low for a new character. X-Men, Immortal X-Men, and Uncanny Avengers. We'll talk about these two distinctions because Big Positive Geek did some really good infographics that I want to share with you guys on this as well. So her basic attack, Psywave. Apparently, I saw this Reddit thread one time where they were using a lot of Pokemon attack names. This is a Pokemon attack, by the way. The names. I found that really interesting for those of you, perhaps like me, who played a lot of Pokemon in their youth. Yeah, this is the name of an attack. Anyways, primary target for 300% damage and apply defense down for 2 turns and heal block for 2 turns. It's not bad, actually. It's unfortunate it's just single target, but it is what it is. Telekinetic Blitz on a cooldown of 5. Attack all enemies for 300% damage. Prolong the duration of all negative effects by 1. I do like this because it includes trauma. So sometimes some of these kind of ones do exclude trauma. This one does not, which is really, really great. Apply the following negative effects for 2 turns to all enemies. This does happen after the prolonging, so that's unfortunate. But defense down, heal block, and disrupt. That's a lot of negative effects and gains 500% extra focus. Like, you don't need Skirmisher. She's going to be amazing. On Crucible offense, it also reduces speed bar by 25%, which is good, and gives safeguard for 2 turns to self and the team, Immortal X-Men in this case. And then if this character is 3 or more Immortal X-Men allies, it cannot miss, cannot be blocked, or counterattacked. In raids, it does the same thing. So unfortunately, it doesn't do the safeguard part in raids. It doesn't do the speed bar part in raids either. It does have a little bit of distinction between her raid usage and her Crucible offense version. Terra Throw, which is her ultimate, usable on turn 2, presumably, here. And it is another AoE attack with 420% piercing. That's actually really solid damage, and it applies to bleed. Given the fact that new era characters tend to have a really high damage stat, you know, this is going to hit really hard when she has, you know, the associated stars with her, and it clears revive once. What I like about this is that it is usable in all game modes, so not just Crucible as well. Any time that there is going to be a revive once on a character, that is gone. Even plug and play, this is usable for that purpose. Pliability, block for 2 turns to the primary target, and gains 1,000% extra focus. So yeah, absolutely do not need Skirmisher on Jean Grey. and killed by this attack can enemies killed by this attack cannot be revived. So again, um, yeah, even like I guess like even if you, it almost makes this redundant, like because if they died from her, I mean, I guess not because if somebody else kills them, if she doesn't get the killing blow, then it still clears the revive once. But regardless, they can't be revived with her attack anyway. So that's really really good. Marvel Girl on spawn, her passive on spawn apply defense up for 1 turn to X-Men and Avenger allies. So this is going to be part of the Uncanny Avenger raid portion. Bury yourself, X-Men and Avenger allies for 30%. And then the Crucible offense, this is where, I mean, a lot of it's the same, right? So she reduces the starting ability energy for the special on all enemies by 10. This is on both offense, Crucible, and raids. And then Safeguard on spawn to self and all Mortal X-Men and Uncanny Avengers. Again, both on Crucible and in raids as well. Now, on Crucible offense specifically, though, and in raids, it does get a bit complicated there a little bit. It has to have the full team, though. So the full team must be assembled for this. Before a character takes a turn, enemies cannot gain taunt. So again, both in Crucible offense and in raids, no taunts. So characters like Black Knight, characters like Gladiator cannot gain taunt on spawn, which is a pretty big thing. And enemies cannot fill or reduce speed bar for themselves or allies. So again, this is a really popular mechanic these days. Characters like Zombie Scarlet Witch, for example, Cabal with Iron Patriot and that usage there, right? So Super Skrull, characters like that cannot fill their speed bar at all as long as the full team is there, which is a really, really, really big thing. Now, as far as what ISOs I would recommend for Jean Grey on Friday when you do hopefully unlock her, I would say that she's obviously a shoo-in for Raider. Both of her attacks are AoE attacks, but I don't know how many strikers, if any, are going to be on this team. And so I do want to talk about this team in its raid portion. This is an infographic from Big Positive Geek that I want to share with you guys and the characters for this team, obviously. So we have Jean Grey, we have Storm, Beast, and Falcon. So these 3 in the middle are the ones that are going to be on 2 other teams as well. But there's not really a striker necessarily on this team. Do you have to have a striker? You don't have to. But for me, it's either going to be Hercules or Jean Grey as a potential striker. I don't know. Her striker action isn't that bad, but of course she has 2 AoEs, and you do want those crits. It's just you're asking for a raider, right, at this point. But they're all AoE damage, so it just makes you wonder: are you going to run any strikers at all? Do you need to? Maybe Hercules might be a striker. That might be something. I don't think he has as many AoE attack, like full-blown AoE attacks. So maybe Hercules might be a little bit better on striker. We'll have to see about that. So this is the infographic. I'm going to share this actually in the description down below if you do want to take a look at this. It's also available on my Discord server as well. This is the Immortal X-Men version of it for Crucible offense. Basically, it's a little bit of a different team. We're still using Beast and Storm and Jean Grey, but then we are using Polaris and Cable there. Again, the jury's a little bit out. I have not seen any gameplay on this. I don't know, how the team's going to function necessarily and how powerful everyone is going to be and whether or not this is an amazing team. But nonetheless, you know that at least for the raid version of this, you have to have this team, right? It's the next Spotlight raid team that you're going to have to build. And I think the really important thing here is that knowing that you are going to have to build them, right? You are going to have to build them for Friday if you want to clear those nodes. Now, not everyone in your alliance is going to need to do this. Keep in mind that, right? You're only going to need... actually, I haven't seen the map, right? So I can't say for sure. But the way that the current Spotlight raid works is that you only actually need, currently, about one, hypothetically, of course, one person for either 4 lanes. And if you had 4 people on each team with Jean Grey unlocked to do those nodes starting on Friday, then you can make your way towards 100%. That would be about 12 people across your alliance. Now, that's only if the map stays the same. And I can't say for 100% certainty if that's going to be the case come Friday. But it may come into preview later on today. And if that's the case, I might do a follow-up video if there's more information on the Spotlight raid that is necessary for us to take a look at. So keep that in mind as well. One other thing I do want to talk about when it comes to Jean Grey is I want to talk about her gearing. I have to zoom out a little bit to get there, but you can see it on the side here as far as her unique goes. So if you are saving up, she does require tempered osmium, and osmium is a pretty valuable unique because there's a lot of other characters, including Thanos, just off the top of my head, Thanos Endgame. And I know people are gonna because I can't recall. There is one Gambit. There is quite a few others off. I think it's Nightcrawler too, isn't it? I forget now. But there's a lot of characters that use this. I have been buying this constantly in the store to make sure that I have enough come Gear Tier 20 because I know that I'll be using this quite a lot. So do make sure that you have enough Tempered Osmium for Jean Grey and for any other character that you need. She is only 3 gear pieces, so she's not like super heavy in order to gear up. And I am looking for, and that's what I've been saving. You know, in case anyone had any doubt in their mind, that is what I have been saving my power cores for, both for Jean Grey and for Hercules, so I could unlock them, I could build them ASAP, and get myself in there, because I do value raids quite heavily in Marvel Strike Force. It is raids in general is where I feel that you get the most bang for your buck, because you are doing this every single day and you're getting a lot of rewards, new rewards in this case, hopefully for Spotlight 2, and something that everyone should be working on. I think that PvP is slightly a luxury after PvE raids, so I do think that Jean Grey is absolutely worth it, regardless of how she functions in Cosmic Crucible with the Immortal X-Men. I don't know too much about that, so I can't say, but you are going to be using this character for like the next, probably for the next year. Given that Alpha Flight is going in for a second time for Spotlight 2, I can imagine that we're going to be using the Uncanny Avengers for Spotlight 2 and Spotlight 3, at least for 2 raids, which is probably going to last at least 6 months each. So you're going to get at least 1 year usage out of Jean Grey. Also, like I said, if you do unlock her early, then you will be able to start your start with you and your alliance on the Uncanny Avenger nodes as well. Just keep in mind that with the increase of the purple ISO requirement for this team, you know, if you haven't already, again, you don't need it right at D0, but when you go up to D2, you are going to need purple 3 on all of your characters, especially for these. It might be a little bit tougher for those of you who are still working towards Odin. Nonetheless, let's do a kind of a recap here. So should you core for Jean Grey? Yes, you should. I think you should. I think that you should probably do your best to get her unlocked, because in order to do even the prologue of Spotlight 2, you are going to need to have her unlocked. Now, whether or not that it is the best for everyone might depend on where you are for raids, right? If you are not an alliance, if you're not in an alliance that is going to be expecting to get into Spotlight 2, then maybe you don't need to, right? So this is only going to be for the people who are definitely going to be jumping into Spotlight Raid 2, because really that's where you're going to be using her the most. Again, I don't really know how great she is going to be or not in Crucible. I do expect her to be pretty powerful in her game modes, which is in this case going to be raids and in Cosmic Crucible. It very well could be elsewhere, but I don't know too much about that because I'm not Nonboy and I haven't playtested her. But that's everything I know and all of my thoughts on Jean Grey. And of course, I believe, I'm not mistaken, that there is going to be the showcase, I think, is starting sometime on Friday. Yeah, the Uncanny Avengers showcase, I think, is also starting on Friday. So I don't know what rewards are necessarily going to be in there, because I don't know if there's going to be a new event store. That's one thing that I'm a little bit unclear about with January. I don't think there is, because I haven't seen any data mines on it. So I don't know if you're going to be farming like a new currency for January if you unlock Jean Grey early. So I'm not sure what's going to be in there to farm for it. Normally, I would recommend getting the first character because it would allow you to farm these event store currencies. But yeah, I don't know if that's going to be the case for Jean Grey. Nonetheless, you're still going to need to do this for Spotlight Raid 2. So that's going to be the end of this video, everyone. Let me know what your thoughts are in the comments down below. Are you going to be coring for Jean Grey early? Have you been saving up like I have? Because I got a lot of power cores and I'm absolutely ready to pull for her on Friday. That's going to be it for me, and I'll see you guys in the next video. So stay safe and healthy, and I'll see you all later. Boilon signing out.